All right, you just have your ball handy. Since you're there, I'll put this in your spot. What do you think of that? Let's roll those shoulders up, back and down. Add a little bigger movement, those elbows, arms. And then we'll just start a really slow, kind of stretchy step touch, single arm, move in that direction. Good, and then we'll swing those arms and we'll start to pick up the pace. And in a moment, we'll take those 2 steps to the left in 4, 3, here you go. Add a nice little bicep curl with a hamstring curl at the end. One more, we're going to stay here, hamstrings only, hands on your hips. Go back to those biceps. Imagine that you're kind of wiping your feet so you get a little extra hamstring action here. Good, you're going to keep those biceps going, you're going to bring those feet in and make it a knee lift. And then we're going to bring those arms, serve your platter. And then lift them all the way up. Point those toes, knees up to your chest, pull down. A little up and over. Cross that knee across your body. In a moment, we're going to stay on that left side and double time it in 4, 3, 2. Here you go. Two more. Good. Opposite knees. Back to step touch. Bicep curl. And then in a moment, we'll take those 2 steps to the right in 4, 3. Here you go. We're going to add a hamstring curl with a tricep press this time. Leave it here, hamstrings, tricep press. And again, really drag that foot, drag it, drag it. You were right, Jan, I'm gonna have to get another chair. Good, we're gonna keep those arms and a knee lift. We're still pressing down and pressing back, little tricep action. Good, we're gonna make those arms a little bigger. Whoop. Then we'll go up and over. In a moment, we'll stay on that left side. In 4, 3, we're gonna double time, here you go. Two more. Both are alternating hamstrings. And back to your step touch. Roll those shoulders. Beautiful. Wide stance. Give me a little dip in the middle. 4, 3, 2, Last one, legs are gonna stay wide. We're gonna bend into that plie, but then we're gonna hinge forward, roll through that spine, cat and cow, flexing and extending, and just keep that going for me, please. She looks offended that I got another chair. Sorry, Charlie. So you should have a nice, by this time, lubricated spine. We're gonna drop that right shoulder in. We're gonna look up over the left. Come on, back through center. Let's go the other way. And then back to the first side. And back to the second. Let's roll it and extend it. Put your weight in your tailbone and your heels, pull your abs in, lift it on up, big deep breath in, turn to your chair. We're gonna start with a tricep push-up. So we wanna find that high plank position. Hands are facing each other, arms are right underneath, or excuse me, wrists are right underneath your shoulders. So you don't wanna be way back here, definitely don't wanna be up there. Take your tailbone, tuck it under, pull your belly button in, take the wrinkle out of the back of your shirt, bend your elbows backwards till they come to your ribs, hold and press away. Come down and press away. Down and hold, press away, and keep that going. This time, come down, bend those elbows, and then move up and down 1 inch at a time, tiny movement. Make sure you're not moving through the hips, so lock those in place so the arms are moving. Woo, and then bring it back, bend to both knees, left hand goes in the chair, bend that left knee, right arm lifts to the sky, and then bring that down, right hand in the chair, right knee bends, left arm up and over. Good. And then we'll come on back to center, cow and cat. Big deep breath in. And let's grab that ball, please. All right. So we're going to start with that ball up between our thighs. Excuse me for interrupting. All right. Bring those feet in as close as you can get them. So you have a really tight squeeze on that ball. Roll up on those toes. We're going to bend forward as those knees come forward. Tailbone slides down an imaginary wall. Tighten your grip on the ball so you don't feel it in your knees. You feel it in your inner thighs. Stand it up. Slide down. Squeeze it in and come up. Slide down. Squeeze it in and come up. So we're going to go down and squeeze and lift. Down and squeeze and lift. Good. Imaginary wall, tailbone slides down. Two more like this. We're going to stay at the bottom. We're going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. So my knees are coming closer and closer, closer. You're not opening and closing. You're just tightening and tightening and tightening. And then see if you can go down another inch and tighten, tighten, tighten. Keep that tailbone tucked. Can you go down another quarter inch and tighten, 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 tighten. And stay here, stay. Squeeze, squeeze. Listen up. You're going to bend your knees. Or excuse me, you're going to drop your heels, but keep your knees bent. You're going to lift up, drop the heels up. So we're keeping the knees bent, but we're working the calves from this form, right? So knees stay bent, heels lift and lower. So make sure you're not coming up and down, right? You're just keeping those knees bent, a tight squeeze on the ball. You guys look great. Heels lift and lower. You should feel this, I hope. in your calves by now. 2 more and 1. Woo, bring that up. Let's give those calves a quick little dose of love. Step back with your right foot, lunge forward. We're not going to do a big stretch here because there's more to come for those. Bend that right knee and then step it forward. Other leg goes back, feet pointed straight ahead, lunge. Make sure the booty's not sticking out, it's with you, and then bend that knee. All right, so now we're going to take that ball behind the right leg, get a nice grip on it. We're going to stand with our right knee slightly behind the left. So you should be able to see your left knee and then bend that left knee. And we're going to start with those legs squeezed together. So we're going to work those hamstrings with that medial hamstring. As you keep the tailbone long, the right knee slightly behind the left and the legs squeezed together as you squeeze with that heel. 4 more at this pace. Last 2, last 1, squeeze it, and now we double time it, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Make sure you're not popping those ribs, so abs are in, chest is broad. Beautiful. Now you're just going to press that heel back, and you're going to do your best to not tip, right? So you want to keep that spine tall, press back. Now we're going to add on, we're going to push back and we're going to squeeze in, push back, squeeze in. So we're adding that hamstring curl to this. Push back, squeeze in. And relax. That right hamstring should be kind of on fire. So let's take a quick break for that. Bend that left knee, step out and forward with the right leg. Hinge at your hips, so tailbone long. A lot of bend in that left knee, hands on that left leg. Scoot that tailbone back, and again, try not to round it under, but extend it up in the air so you get the hamstring. Roll your toes up, and then roll them back down, and then we'll come forward. We're going to do the other side. So ball behind that left leg, right knee is going to bend. And again, we want our legs together. We want our tailbone under, abs in, ribs down, left leg slightly behind the right. And we start with that medium speed hamstring curl. Squeeze those knees together, inner thighs together. So we're working, again, those medial hamstrings, the skinny ones that are closer towards the midline of your body. And then we'll double time it. Ribs in, abs in. Good. Now we go press back, press back. Keep that ball where it is, abs in, tailbone long. We're trying not to tip when we do this. And now we add push back, squeeze in, push back, squeeze in, push and squeeze. Two more. And relax. All right, so now we bend that right knee, we extend that left leg off to the side, we send that tailbone up in the air, and we sit back into it to get that nice stretch on that left hamstring, lifting and lowering those toes. And then come on back up. We're going to go back to the ball between our legs, but this time way down at the ankles. And you can just use your chair for balance. Abs in, spine tall. We're just going to do both legs lifting, warming up those calves again. As I mentioned before, we have more love with them. Whatever you want with your arms. If you don't need the chair for balance, maybe you're here, maybe you're here, maybe you're here. Whatever you want, within reason. Next week, you'll be dressed as a bunny, right? Or a spring fairy, or Earth Day's coming up too, or whatever you would wear for Passover. I don't know that. Last two. Last one, stay up on those tippy toes, ribs pull in, hang out here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then you're gonna take that left leg, actually, let's roll that ball up a little higher. Left leg off the ground, right leg, straight leg raise. And again, balance if you want, maybe just a thumb or a pinky or a finger. So again, working those calves. Last two, last one. We're going to switch it up. Right leg extends, left leg, we would lift and lower. All right, and we're going to relax. Again, we're not stretching those calves out quite yet, more to come. So now we're going to take that ball in front of the right leg and behind the left. We're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come up onto those right toes and then down. Slide forward, up and down. Slide forward, up and down. So working the quad, working the glute, and working the calf. What are you doing? How many chairs do you need to be in? Do you need to be in both chairs? It is her show after all. Two more. Beautiful. We're going to switch that up. So now that ball comes in front of the left leg and behind the right one. Same thing, we're going to bend. We're going to come up onto those toes, and then down. We slide forward, up and down. Bend, slide up and down. You guys can switch hands, switch sides. I just didn't want to disturb the start of the show. Two more. And last one. All right, we are back to having that ball behind us again, or behind the right knee, sorry. But this time, you're going to be away from your chair. Bend that left knee a lot so that you can get your spine straight. So you have options here. A little easier is to stack and let your head rest here. A little more challenging would be a little farther away. You can play with this, but keep that left knee bent. We're going to point those right toes and poke that hole in that ceiling. Abs in, spine long, shoulders out of your ears. All right. Leave it at the top. Give me a hamstring curl for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now double time it in. Now slow again for 4, 3, 2, and 1, and double time. And now we're going to poke that hole in the ceiling. We're going to squeeze in. We're going to lift, poke, squeeze, lift, poke, squeeze. Two more. Woo, bring that up. We're going to cross that right leg over the left and stretch out that hip. You may have felt that in that standing leg as much as in the other. And then round it under, feel that come into your low back. and then we'll press it out again. Beautiful. We're switching sides. Again, I'm gonna, now that, oh, sorry, babe. Now that I have space, I'm gonna do that. You're gonna take that ball behind the opposite leg now, so behind your left leg. And again, you can be close to your chair or a little farther away. Right knee is bent, shoulders out of your ears, wherever you are. Point your toe, poke that hole in that ceiling. Long spine, abs in, bend in your right knee. This time, leave that leg up there. Give me a hamstring curl. 3, 2, and 1. Now double time it in. And now slow again. And double time. Good. Now we lift up and we squeeze. We lift up and we squeeze. Up and squeeze. Keep it going. And relax. Woo! Now we're going to stretch out that left leg. So it goes across the right thigh. Woo, tailbone long. And we're going to round it under. And extend it out again. I want you to flip your chair around to sit in it. You're going to take that ball and just bring it between your thighs for now, just for safekeeping. Hands are facing each other. We're going to be doing a tricep dip here. Shoulders up, back, down. Scoot yourself forward until your hips are just at the edge of your chair. And then, as always, you don't want to lift the hips up. You just want to glide them off the edge of the chair and do your best to just use your arms here. Feel the tailbone glide up and down against the chair. Elbows come backwards. And relax. Woo, shake that out. Right hand comes to your right shoulder, give it a little tug. And then hand to the midline of your back. And then over to your left shoulder. Shake it out, left hand to the left side. And midline. And then over to the right. All right. We're going to stand up again. We're going to put the ball behind that right leg again. And left knee bends, abs in. We're going to flare that right leg to the right, but I have this chair here so that you'll notice if you're doing that, right? So you're going to do your best to keep your hip from drifting to the opposite side. Two more. You probably know what's coming with the leg up in the air. We're hamstring curling. It's a double time. And now we come down, up, curl, down, up, curl. What the heck, you might as well give yourself a isometric contraction with your bicep, because other than lifting up your chairs, I don't have bicep work for you today. Now, standing legs should be pretty engaged at the same time. Good. Leave it up here. Hamstring curl as tight as you can. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo, shake that out. Let's do the other side, then we'll stretch everything out. Maybe. Left knee bends. Fall behind that right leg. And always that right leg is slightly behind the left. And we lift, and notice if as you lift, what wants to happen in that standing hip. So do your best to stay as stable as you can. Two more. Good. And we're up. Hamstring curl, double time it. Then we come down, we come up, and we curl. Down, up, curl. Oh yeah, here's a bicep. Warg. Beautiful. Leave it up here. Hamstring curl, tight, 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 tight. Woo, and relax. Left leg over right, arms up and over. Shoot the hip over to the left, arms reach to the right, come down a little bit, and then back up and open, and we're going the other way. Right over left, up and over. Shoot that hip to the side, arm overhead, lift it up, bring it down, and lift it up, and step it out. And now we're going to stretch out those calves a little better than before. So step back with your right foot, but turn the foot out and the heel in. So you're on an angle. Notice if the right hip went backwards, push it forward and then lunge. And we'll bend that right knee a little bit. And then roll up, toe in, heel out, and lunge. And bend it. And then roll it up. Right leg forward, left leg back, lunge. Oops, sorry, toe turned out. What? There we go, bend it. And then toe in, heel out, press, and bend. All right, we're gonna stand that up. And we're coming down to the ground. You will not need your chair, but you will need your ball. Thank you. Good helper. All right, so we're going to lie down and we're going to take that ball underneath our left ankle with the legs straight. All right, so we're going to do just kind of subtle, just a little spinal extension here. Flex the left toes back and start pushing the heel into the ball. And then you can press into that left hip, that right foot to lift both hips a little bit. But most important, I want you to push down with the left ankle, push down, push down. When you do that, you should feel engagement along the back side of that left leg, including the glute and a little into the low back. You are welcome to not do this with a bridge, right? You can leave your hips down, or again, for a little more intensity, hips are up. And then relax. I know this might not feel like a whole lot, but it's good stuff for our back. Roll that ball underneath your right ankle, right? Left knee is bent. Start by flexing the right foot and push down into the ball. You should already feel that engagement up that leg. And then if you want to, lift those hips up, and then with the ankle, we push down and push down and push and push. And relax. We're going to bring that ball in. We're going to bring it up behind our head for just a quick little break here. Just letting that neck relax. Head just tips down towards your chest. And then, of course, we're going to grab that away because, we don't get to do that right now. Bring the feet together. Bring that ball in between your thighs for now. Let's flatten those ribs and pull those abs in. So we're going to do a couple versions of toe touch here. Back of the neck is long. Deep breath in. On the exhale, staple your belly button to your spine. Knees move away from your body, and then you're going to squeeze that ball as hard as you can, flex through the heels, and come up without sweeping, nice and slowly. So we're going to point lower on the way down. Be really conscientious of what's going on there in your abs. Exhale, flex, squeeze the ball to come back up. So we inhale to move forward and away. We're going to pause at the bottom. We're going to flex and lift back up. Inhale, moving away. Exhale, flex, squeeze and lift. So don't forget the squeeze on that ball as you come back up. That's a little more powerful. One more like that, and then hug that in. And then we're going to move that ball down to your ankles. So it's just going to have a little change because your ankles are bony, and so therefore the ball should be a little less stable. And we're in more of that froggy position now. Same thing, abs in, back of the neck is long, lower those legs, squeeze and flex on the way up. Inhale, point if you want on the way down, exhale, flex and lift up. Two more like that. Next version, this is all about awareness. So we're going to take that ball, and you have options. It could go at your belly button and you create a valley to kind of hold it in place. If that doesn't happen, it goes up on your rib cage, and then you really need to sink those ribs down so it has a place to rest. Whatever you choose, it doesn't get to rest against your thighs, which you are now going to lift up into tabletop. And toe touch again. You can go to single leg toe touch, no big deal, that's fine. But again, we're just keeping that awareness of keeping that ball in place, whether it's on your ribs or belly button area. Two more of those. One of my favorite exercises, can you tell? All right, next version, we lift those hips up off the ground. We're going to put that ball down at your tailbone, right? So it's kind of where the glutes hang out. And then we come up in our tabletop, but tabletop is going to mean the knees are over the hips, which will be a little closer to the chest. So now it should be a little unstable, right? And that might be enough. You might keep your hands down and try a few toe touches, but don't touch all the way down, by the way. But for that challenge, you want to keep those fingers off the ground. And as always, you can separate those feet a little bit if you want. Excuse me, knees. So you choose, you not only have that unstable environment, but you also have a pelvic tilt because that ball is underneath you. Woohoo! And then finally, bridge up. Okay. Last version moves from toe touch to double leg lower. And you have those four options. Option one, ball is between your thighs as you lower your legs and flex to lift. Right? So you might stay with that. If having long legs pulls on your low back or your hamstrings, go back to bent knee. Option two, ball is between the ankles. You point to lower, you flex, squeeze, and lift. Version three, with long legs, that ball rests on your abs or your ribs. And version four is to have that ball underneath you for that unstable environment. So you choose Whichever one you want to do, I'd like you to do 8 more, please. And relax. We are rolling over onto our side. We're going to bring that arm right underneath the ear. We're going to stack the hips. We're going to stack the knees. We're going to stack the feet. And we're going to start with that ball underneath our bottom knee. And then make sure that waistline is lifted. Feet are going to stay together. And we're clamming, but as you open that top leg, you're also going to push open with that bottom leg. Now, this might be for some of you a lot on that hip. The greater trochanter is kind of pushed into the ground. And if that's the case, move that ball. It should make life easier. But we're only doing a couple more like this. Beautiful. Then we're going to move that ball down to the ankle. Same idea. This time you're going to pivot open, same thing, but again, both feet press, right? So I'm pressing my feet together, but I'm also pushing down on that ball. So you might just have a little different sensation here. Beautiful. And then last thing we're going to do, grab that ball, put it between your knees, put your feet together, keep the waistline lifted, and we're just going to squeeze down with that top leg. So the bottom leg is kind of, even though you think you're working the inner thigh here, it's more of stabilizing as that left top leg comes down. Waistline still lifted. My ribs keep wanting to drop, so pay attention to that. When I screw up, you guys pay the price. And relax. All right, we're going to do that little series on the other side, please. So pivot over. What? You okay, guys? I didn't mean to wake you. I'm sorry, love. All right, so knees are stacked, arm is underneath your ear, waistline is lifted, and we started with the ball underneath the bottom knee. If that's going to be okay with you, pivot open. Keep that waistline lifted. And then we're going to roll that ball down so it's underneath your bottom ankle. So now the bottom part of your leg is lifted up. And the same thing, we're going to pivot open and we're going to press down with that ball underneath that ankle. Beautiful. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and we'll take that ball between our thighs, feet together, and use that top leg to push down inner thigh work. And relax. All right, side plank. So give yourself a little extra cushioning if you want for that elbow. Protect that shoulder, push it back, lift up out of it, engage those lats. You're going to come up in your side plank. You're going to put that ball underneath you and then rest on it for a second. While you're resting on it, I want you to check your alignment. So my feet are a little bit ahead, so I'm going to have to scoot those suckers back. And then my chest is ahead, so I'm going to have to move this back. So now I'm in a better alignment. Now I'm going to fall off the ball. Now I'm going to lift up off that ball, and it's going to feel different. And then you can just simply hold there, or you can tap the ball and tap. Tiny movement if you choose to do this. and then come down. You are welcome to stick with that one if you don't want to do the balance. If you're doing the balance, as always, bottom ankle goes on first, leave some space, top foot comes on, and then you're up. And you straighten out those legs if you can. As you are ready, we get to do that on the other side. So again, a little extra cushioning for your elbow if that would feel good. Bring it down. You're going to find your initial alignment after you protect that shoulder. Put the ball there, rest on it. And then again, check your alignment. This time, my feet are where they need to be, but my hips are out of whack, as is my shoulder. So line it up and then lift off the ball and then tap and tap. And bring it down. Option to stick with that one if you don't like the balance. If you're doing the balance, goes under that bottom leg first with a lot of space, and then that top foot comes on the ball. Woo, bring it down. Okay. Now we're coming all the way over onto our abs. And as we do that, we're going to bring that ball underneath our belly button. So kind of a little supported cobra here. Use that to get a nice stretch across the chest. Back of the neck is long, across those shoulders. Lift those elbows a little bit if you want. Play with that. And then elbows back down. And we'll turn this into a pre-plank by pulling the collarbone and the chest up and then the ribs. So I'm on the fronts of my toes and my knees and my forearms, that's all. But I'm making sure that I'm hovering over that ball. I'm not resting on that ball anymore, right? And that might be enough. Or you're welcome to roll onto the fronts of your thighs or tuck your toes and lift up into a straight-legged plank. If you're in that straight-legged plank, see if you could do a tiny move forward and back. If you're in that front of the thigh plank, tiny side to side, teeny tiny, don't want it in the shoulders. And then we'll take a quick break. We'll rest back in shell stretch. Arms in front or by your sides. And then, of course, you have the option to do that plank, that front plank on the ball with hands apart, elbows under your shoulders, ball underneath your ankles or even the fronts of your toes, and bring it on up. All right, we're going to come on up. We're going to roll through a cat and inhale through a cow. And then we're going to spin over onto our spine, stretch it out. So ball is going to come behind that right knee. And we'll just use that ball to pull the knee in a circle in one direction and then the other. And then we'll pull it open over to the right, let the left leg drop to the left. And then that right leg comes to center. We're going to straighten it out, flex through that left heel, and then bend that right knee and hug it in nice and close. We're going to flex through that heel. And then we'll flip it so that we're pushing down against the hamstring and at the same time pushing up against the calf muscle. And then we'll roll it up and point the toes. We're going to lift it up. We're going to flex and come down. And then from there, if you can, point and flex side to side, maybe some circles. Bend that knee again with the ball behind it and bring it all the way across in a nice twist. And then as you come back through center, right ankle drapes over the left thigh. Drop that right leg open, bend that left knee. Let's go ahead, thread the needle, extend that left leg up and flex and point, maybe some rotations. Good. And then lastly, we'll move the ball behind that left hamstring and close the gap completely so that it's knee over knee. Give those knees a hug, bring them up and over towards the left, right arm to the side. Begin to feel that twist and that stretch across the outside of the right hip, right shoulder area, and then we drop all the way to the left. And while you're over there, just slip that right leg out and bring the ball in behind that left, and we'll circle using that ball to create those circles both directions. And then flop the knee to the left, right leg flops the other way. Then we bring it back through center. We're going to hug that knee in, nice and close to your chest, right leg flexes. And then we'll push the ball up against that calf, flex through the heel, roll it on up, point it, bring it with you as you flex and come down. And then try to go through some pointing and flexing, circling side to side. And then we'll bend it again, and we'll bring it across the body. Foot up against the right thigh, pivot open, drop that knee open, bend that right knee. Thread your needle, maybe extend that leg up, and again, point, flex, and rotate. And then we'll bend it, and we're going to move that ball behind the right leg, left leg all the way over, give it a hug. Move those knees up and over toward the right shoulder, feeling that deeper stretch on the left side, and then we drop to the right. And then we unravel, ball overhead, stretch it, roll it up, put it between your thighs for me as you meet me on your hands and knees. And we'll roll through our cat-cow or cat bunny. All right, we're going to tuck those toes, press it up, tip those hips up in the air for down dog, maybe pedal out those heels a little bit. And then we'll come all the way, roll it one more cat, open it one more cow. Nutmeg and I thank you. All right, and let's do another trivia.